Down the road, solutions are many. Where are they now?
Down the road,
we'll
make it somehow.
Down the road, with every last penny.
Down the road,
Down the road.
If you grown-ups feel you're sending me to any orphanage, I will run away first. Dan, I could stay by you.
should fortunes allow. Down the road, we learn from the lessons.
Down the road. Down the road.
Down the road,
Down the road.
And I believe whatever you do and you put your mind to, you'll get it done. You sure about this big plan? It's going to cost a whole lot more.
Down the road. Down the road. Down the road. Down the road. Down the road.
Familiar faces down the road, and many times we say it here in TTT, where we can see ourselves is in the movies and the makings of Sally's Way. It's going to be airing on January 1st for us here on TTT, an actual repeat of sorts. But to get more insight on Sally's Way, we are joined by the executive producer, Louris Lee-Sing, this morning on the Now Morning Show. No stranger, so welcome back.
Thanks so much for having me. Always a pleasure to be here, and I love your Christmas decorations.
Compliments of the season, then, yes, yes.
Thank you.
Did you
Same to
notice
you.
the Now decorations specifically?
Yes,
we
yes,
festive.
I'll say, Thanks.
Things I know you'd appreciate because you continue to find ways to do exactly that. Tell our stories, put us on the screen. And in this case, Sally's Way has been done for some time now, but we are seeing it coming home to TTT. My first question, before we get into anything else, how old is that child now? Because this was a while ago.
The lead in Sally's Way, her name is Alyssa Hiley. She would have been 11 or 12 during filming.
Right.
So I would say by now she's 18.
Wow.
Yeah, she's a big lady now. Last
Probably
time I saw her, she was like an adult, and I was like, whoa.
So that means this has been done for some time, and we see the incredible work that was put out. But tell us a little bit of the backstory. What is Sally's Way?
Well, Sally's Way is really the dream, the brainchild of a lady that I'm so proud and pleased to know. Her name is Joanne Gail Johnson, and she is just an amazing creative, a writer, a filmmaker, producer. And she called me up one day, quite a few years ago, about 2 years before Sally's Way was created, the film. And she said, hey, you know, I want to produce this film based on one of my books. And Sally's Way is a book that Joanne wrote that did really well in the Caribbean, in Africa, an easy reader.
Right.
And I love the story. I love the story. And I thought, wow, I want to be Sally when I grow up, you know? So I love the character, and I told her I was in, and she pulled in another producer, an amazing lady who's working on, I believe, a documentary about the coup right now. Her name is Tracy Farag. She's actually Tracy Joanne Farag, and then there's Joanne Gail Johnson, and I'm actually Louris Joanna Martin Lee-Sing.
Wow.
So when we realized that we were well in, and we started calling ourselves the Three Joes.
Oh, Lord.
So essentially the Three Joes got together and did a lot of work and got this movie made, you know, with the help of some amazing people, wonderful cast.
Well, let's get into that cast, because one of the things that we know is that we do have an industry that there are familiar faces in.
Absolutely.
But there is a lot to be talked about when it comes to the industry. So first off, we know Rambungshan is there.
Yes.
We see him, we drive in the maxi, and he's very calm in this one.
Yes, Mr. Christmas.
Quite different than we saw him last. Who else is featured in this one?
Well, I think one of the standout things with Sally's Way for me is that it's full of positive male role models. So Rambungshan actually plays a maxi driver.
Right.
And we know how maxi drivers are perceived in our society as far as
Especially
their,
Rasta men.
yes, as far as their relationship with the young girls. So here we have a maxi driver who had a relationship with his mom. They were friends with her mom.
Right.
And now he looks out for her. So they have a very positive sort of father-daughter, really very healthy
Beautiful.
relationship. And then there's Conrad Paris, who plays a sort of a street side vendor, and he gives Sally a space to start her little business
Right.
that she uses to solve some of her problems. So Conrad Paris is an amazing actor, always a pleasure to work with him. So he was in it, and then of course there's Hansley Ajoda, who plays Mr. Dindial, again, very positive male role model. In the film, Sally's grandmother works for Mr. Dindial, and she falls ill, and there's no one to take care of Sally. So Mr. Dindial and his wife, who's played by Patty Ann Ali, and their daughters, they take Sally in.
Beautiful.
You know,
So a
and
lot
there's
of
no
positive.
stress in the movie, there's no weirdness, there's no creepiness. You know, all the men behave as they should, and Sally is elevated by that community support.
And that's a beautiful message that we can all identify
Sure.
with. Regardless of age, we all identify with the notion of a much more communal upbringing, if you will, being something that's necessary and perhaps missed.
Absolutely.
So that means that this is very much something for the entire family.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I truly believe in making films that everyone can watch. We have a great preponderance of shoot-em-up films in Trinidad and Tobago, and that does accurately reflect some aspects of our society.
Right.
But there's so much more to us. You know, our community bonds, our bonds of family, and this time of year, I think, is the best time to celebrate it.
Absolutely.
So I'm very grateful for TTT for, you know, screening the film and sharing it with the country, because that's full circle for a filmmaker. You make a film, and when it gets to this point that everybody can see it, then that's the whole point.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely. And speaking of everybody, I know that this would have required quite a bit of work. So let's talk a little bit about the crew, because it lends itself to our industry and it growing, or the myths that there may be around it, whether or not these are sustainable industries, whether or not these are populated jobs. Tell me a little bit about the crew that helped make Sally's Way.
Well, I think our crew was spectacular. We were very, very fortunate. At the time, I was very pregnant. So it was really tough for me. And when I was pregnant, I wasn't well. You know, I was all the time. Right? Everywhere. Right? So I really had to rely on everybody else.
Okay.
And people like Robert McFarlane, Leslie Ann McFarlane, Dion Buku. You know, people like that really came to the fore. Karen Lemessy. We just had like
Familiar
the
names.
best.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hear those names, right?
Yeah.
We had the best possible crew, and they really wanted the film to succeed. And they helped us a lot. You know, I don't think we would have had such a great film without each and every one of those persons. So I'm very, very grateful to them.
And you do have to show that gratitude with awards, and I
Yes.
understand that you have quite a few accolades already accomplished, yes?
Yes.
Both locally and internationally.
And internationally, yes. Well, we went into the sort of the film festival season with Sally's Way in 2015, and within the next 2 years, we were able to win 6 international awards, including what's the one for most liked film? People's Choice.
People's Choice,
Yes. At the the local Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival, which is
Right.
quite a prestigious festival.
Absolutely.
Internationally. And the film has been seen in 9 countries and 16 cities around the world, and we've always gotten really good feedback and reviews. So I'm quite proud of it, and it really highlights for me the importance of sticking with a film. You can't just make a film and then throw it away. You have to kind of manage it and mine it like a child for years, because here we are still screening Sally's Way, still sharing it,
Right.
and I couldn't be happier.
Well, we are very happy that we are going to be adding to the number of cities, if you will,
Yes.
or countries that will be viewing Sally's Way, as it's going to air right here on TTT on January 1st, in case you missed it. We thank you ever so kindly, Louris, not just for joining us this morning in your capacity as executive producer, but also for, as you say, sticking with it and telling these stories, particularly the positive ones,
Yes.
that the entire family can enjoy while we have the time to do so. Thank you
man.
so much for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Anytime. Come on down and bring cooler shades. But for now, guys, your birthdays are next, so stick around. We'll be back on the Now Morning Show. Like and enjoy it too.
Set your sight